questions we wrestle with as Christians about who God is, how do we live out our faith, what is the Bible, what is the truth of the Bible, what are we supposed to believe, how are we supposed to live? There are really big, deep questions that we ask each other, that we ask God, that we wrestle with ourselves. And that's why the Cultivate podcast exists, to help us go deeper in our understanding of who God is, His Word, and the way that He's called us to live. Everyone, welcome to the Cultivate podcast. I am Charlie Lofton, the lead pastor at the Grove Church, and I'm here with
Bagel,
Abigail Boone. So glad that you have joined us, and Abigail, as always. Bagel,
yes.
Thank you for joining us. And if you were here with us last episode, you know that Bagel and I recorded a mega episode
and
chatty. Have now split it into two,
yes.
One on communion and one on baptism. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you should hit the pause button.
Go
back one episode and make sure you catch both of these together. If not, and you've joined us for the previous one, welcome to our continued conversation transitioning from communion to baptism. All right, so we are long here. So we'll now switch to
baptism.
And my guess is you could probably intuitively guess why that has been controversial historically.
That you should do it or not?
No. Everyone agrees that you should do it. Like, who should be baptized?
People who accept Christ.
Right. But the practice in the church historically.
Kids.
Yeah. Babies. Should you baptize babies or not?
I feel like that's just a baby dedication.
Well, we have baby dedications in churches that you're accustomed to where there's no water involved, and it's just, hey.
It's just a cute fest.
Right? But.
in the way that you do it.
Yeah, it's just Charlie interacting with babies. Charlie,
so I just want to showcase a cute thing.
Here's a cute baby. I love this baby. See if I can get the baby to banter with me a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fun. And then again, we turn it into, it's not baptism, and it is highly symbolic of just, hey, the parents making a pledge to, we want to help our kid know Jesus and follow Jesus.
And you ask the church.
Yeah, and will the church kind of rally behind them? But infant baptism is something very different.
Mm-hmm.
And so the history of this is, in the book of Acts, we really only have as an example that people were baptized after they came to faith. That's the only examples that we have.
Yeah.
The only examples we have are that. The closest thing to a counterexample to that is like when Cornelius, the Roman guy, Peter comes and visits him, and it says they come to faith, and it says he was baptized in his whole household. So people assume, well, if you're talking about his whole household, there had to have been babies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that doesn't.
It's presumptuous.
It's presumptuous, and typically what household meant was
he could have been an empty nester.
Well, that would tend to mean. That would tend to mean
like slaves and
we'll say servants, but yeah, I mean like the people that worked there with him, like that would be like the people who were there, like and so that's the only thing. And then what began to happen as over time, as the theology of the church is developing, and there became more and more focus on what is called original sin or sin nature, that we're all born with. Sin having
talked about that.
Yeah, we have. And this is how it is. Theology all kind of weaving together.
No. I don't remember the name
Soteriology.
I'm going to say Salvatore.
Yeah. Well, actually, I guess that was hamartiology. We're talking about sin.
Yeah, gosh, get it right.
And soteriology, and we keep talking about it.
Yeah.
It keeps coming up. And so that means everybody is born kind of with the taint of sin on them, even before they're old enough to commit a sin.
Right.
You are a sinner by your nature. And you combine the development of that theology with a high infant mortality rate, and then you start to have real questions like what happens to our babies, even though they have not consciously committed a sin yet, they are dying, and they are dying with a sin nature. And so infant baptism develops as this is a way to kind of wash off that. So this is how you are healed and forgiven for original sin.
Profession of faith.
And then once you're old enough to have committed sins, then you need to make a confession of faith, but you have already been baptized. And baptism then is an entry into the Christian community as opposed to a public declaration of this is what I currently
That
believe.
feels like two different types of baptisms then.
What do you mean?
Like baptism alone doesn't save you. Being dunked doesn't save you. It's your profession. Like you just categorized one is cleaning you and protecting you from going to hell, I guess. And then the other one is I made this profession and I was saved. Now I want to tell my community through this outward. That's two different end goals with baptism.
Yeah. And so by the time you get to 2,000 years later, right, now there are just all sorts of different ideas and meanings behind it. But initially it was only a ritualistic proclamation of I have a symbol and sign of my repentance. Kind of starts with John the Baptist. Hey, if you want to show yourself that you are repentant, you are sorry for your sins, come in here. I will baptize you as a cleaning symbol. There's cleaning symbology there. I was dirty, now I'm clean. There's also death metaphors there because the baptism service, it looks like someone is drowning you. Right. I'm putting you in there. And so that's what initially was. And then Jesus and his disciples are doing it. And then it moves into Acts. And again, all we have are what is now would be called believer's baptism. Yeah. Infant baptism kind of raises out of that a fear of original sin. But then now it's just fully entrenched in the practice of the church.
So are there any people that believe infant baptism and then there's no need for baptism later if you come to Christ?
Yeah. Okay, let me work. Okay. I will answer that. So you get to the Protestant Reformation. Now for 15, let's just say it was probably around 400 AD that infant baptism really just kind of becomes deeply ingrained. So now for 1100 years, the only people getting baptized are babies. Okay. Or people who come to faith later in life. But if you are born into a Christian home,
the assumption is that you would, yeah.
And again, 400 AD, what else is happening around that time? Our boy Constantine is declaring Christianity
state religion
to be the state religion. And so now it is also kind of it has political implications too. So we're baptizing babies not only for original sin, but now we're starting to, this is also your inclusion into the citizenry because we are all Christians here. 1100 years of that is deep entrenched practice. No one is getting rebaptized as adults and everybody's being baptized as a baby if you're a Christian. The Protestant Reformation happens, and for most of the reformers, it did not even cross their mind to change that. So Lutherans and Calvinists, Presbyterians, they're still baptizing babies. So there was a group called the Anabaptist, A-N-A, not Anna like a name, but Anna like again. It's a prefix meaning
and not
again.
Anti.
Anna, yeah, like just imagine again Baptist.
Okay.
Baptize againers.
So there was Baptist before this?
No.
Or were they the first Baptists?
The Anabaptist means people who are baptizing people a second time. Okay. So you're baptized as a baby, you need to get baptized again. Okay. So that's why they were called the baptize againers. Okay. And the Anabaptists. And they were hated by everybody. That was the one thing that Zwingli and all these guys that Luther and Calvin, this was not good.
Where did they come from? Like out of one of those denominations?
Well, again, now all of a sudden you've got this thing we talked about in the Protestant Reformation. People now have the Bibles in their hand and only through the scriptures. And they're like, where in here does it say we're supposed to baptize babies? Yeah. And so there was never really any sense there in the Protestant Reformation, except what at that time was a very fringe group that we should do anything other than it was just never called into question at all. Yeah. Now we are 500 years removed from that, and what we mean by it, infant baptism, has radically changed. I don't know that there are any people really, maybe, I don't want to say anybody. By and large, most of your kind of mainstream theologians would not say that there's any real forgiveness happening at baby baptism. But again, you might find in the seats a little bit. a little bit the seats, the regs in the chairs.
Okay.
Right. That there can be some anxiety, like you experience is like a guy grows up in one of these churches that baptizes babies, but then as an adult goes to a different church, and now they have babies, and grandma's not thinking. They're not thinking, oh, it'd be great. You should do this. You should do this ritual that only has symbolic meaning. It's like, why are my kids not getting baptized? Almost like, for lack of a better word, a little superstitious anxiety about it. Like, what happens to your baby if he dies and they're not baptized? Even though theologically, anyways, I don't think that any of the theologians would say, no, this is necessary for a kid. Otherwise, if a kid dies, they're going to hell.
Right.
But it has such a powerful meaning in the service where it's conducted that it certainly can lead you to believe. But a lot of the wording can lead you to believe that.
Maybe this is wrong, but couldn't someone accept Christ and never do the practice of baptism and go to heaven? Okay,
now we're into the if we're done with baby baptisms, we can now get to the second most controversial aspect of it is baptism essential
to salvation,
to your salvation?
Well, it feels like those people think yes.
Is it a means by which you receive salvation? So it's like, how do you receive salvation? You receive it by faith through baptism. So it is the means by which it happens. There's also the means is by faith, but in order to be saved, you have to seal the deal with baptism. So it's like, you receive it by faith, you complete it with baptism.
Okay.
Or is it a symbol of public declaration?
Okay.
This is now just a symbol showing, hey, I have done this thing, and now I am. Jesus asked us to do it, and it is a powerful symbol, so I'm going to do it. So again, the same thing with Jesus did get baptized.
But I know, but the people he talked to, he would say, go and sin no more. But it wouldn't be like, let's get you baptized before you go.
But immediately upon commissioning the disciples in Matthew chapter 28 and in Acts 1:8 and all throughout Acts,
they do that.
Once the church is established, then it is a command. It is, it is a primary command there in the Great Commission, and it is a primary practice. You see it, the book of Acts. People come to faith, they're immediately baptized. So one of the things that I think is important for us to think about theologically, we've got what was life like before Jesus. Like you got your Old Testament, how were Old Testament people coming to faith? And then you've got the church era of kind of what is the church supposed to be and how people come to faith in there. And in the middle there, we've kind of got this transitionary period where Jesus is active, but he has not died on the cross yet. He's not come back to life. You got to put your faith in Jesus' death and resurrection. It's like, dude, Jesus is right here. So you got this transitional period. And so it is difficult to apply theological principles that govern the church era
to Jesus
from this transitional period, at least operationally, between the Old Testament and the New Testament. But he did say you must do this. And so, but not every command is essential to. There's lots of things that Jesus commanded that aren't essential to salvation.
Right.
And so you got these three things, right? It is how you become a Christian. It is kind of how you seal the deal to finally become a Christian. It is just a symbol. And so almost in the same way that we kind of talked about transubstantiation just down to a memorial service, baptism is kind of the same way. It is absolutely essential to salvation. It kind of is, it's not. And so we kind of got these different ranges. And now, I mean, if you go to Methodist church, a Presbyterian church, Lutheran church, wherever, like what they're saying is happening when these babies get baptized is going to be radically different from denomination to denomination. And the same thing between a Southern Baptist church and a Church of Christ church, and you're just kind of run-of-the-mill non-denomination, you're going to get varying degrees of how important / essential is this. And it's, you got some churches like, man, yeah, I mean, it's like we're not gonna fixate on this as one command over all the others. And then the people that are a step above that say, man, it's not how you become a Christian, but it is the absolutely critical first command to, no, it is actually You're not fully saved until you do it, bro.
It.
That is how you get saved. Like you said, everyone kind of judging the ones that are the step below it. And so
seems like we would lean towards
we're closer to the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah. On both of these.
Yeah.
Kind of them more just kind of being practices of the church as opposed to sacred sacraments within the church.
So was this also the Zwingli, Luther, all of them, did they also disagree on baptism, or was it mainly communion?
Again, all of them apart from
Zwingli.
Apart from the Anabaptists.
Oh.
They
were okay. You did say
they were
that.
all baptizing babies.
Okay.
There was just no
Okay.
There's no question.
Okay.
And so that's why it seemed the Anabaptists seem so weird. So historically, the argument around baptism has been between babies only or believers, but really even that has only been in the last 500 years. Currently, and this is post-Protestant Reformation, and certainly probably in the last couple of 100 years, is what is really happening and how critical is it? That's the thing we're fighting about right now. It's about to the point now where the infant baptizers and the believers baptizers, we've just decided we're so divided. Like I'm not even arguing with you anymore. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But within each community, there's still a sense of like
what's happening,
what is actually happening here.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to give historical data, and you're pressing me to come up with what I believe is right, and I'm trying to be incredibly diplomatic.
Listen, you started this with I wouldn't be able to guess why it was controversial. Well, you were right.
You're right. It is incredibly controversial. And so I think because I am on the scale kind of more chill about it, like I don't judge anybody up.
Yeah.
And I decided a while back that I was not, I if you said, should we be baptizing babies? I don't think that we should, but I'm not fussed about people who do.
Right.
And I'm not trying to pressure somebody who was baptized as a baby to get rebaptized as an adult. I'm just not putting that level of pressure on it because I don't think it is essential to salvation in that sense.
Yeah.
If you ask me, hey, I was baptized as a baby, then I came to faith and I've not been baptized since. What do you think I should do? I think you should get baptized. I think you should.
Yeah.
But I don't really feel good about that. I'll be like, okay. Like,
yeah.
Or, like there are some people in our church that take communion every week without fail. And you can tell that it just means it has a deeper spiritual meaning to them, which is great. Which is why when that guy says, hey, I would be interested in your theological justification for that. I'm like, I'm not necessarily interested in having that conversation. I don't feel like I have a position that needs defending.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I'm really trying to be contentious about.
Right.
And so it would be too dismissive for me to say in our theology of the house, like, where does it fall in there? It's for me to say that it is decorative. There's certain aspects of it that are. When you start to say that it is essential for salvation, that feels at a minimum foundationally, maybe even soil to say that you have to do this one act to be a Christian. I don't like that.
That's
even to the point to where there's these anecdotal stories out there, and it's one of these things. Everybody knows somebody, but like somebody gets baptized and they're baptizing them, and like part of their hair doesn't.
Oh my gosh!
All the way in, and they're like, we're gonna have to do that again. It didn't count. Because again, just a deep level of fear around you have to do this in order to be a Christian.
Yeah, all of this seems a lot more fear-based than like communion was all reverence and ritual and sanctity around it. A lot of the objections are like modifying. It seems like it was around fear, which we don't have any of. Like we don't have a state religion and we don't have horrific infant mortality. And so it's interesting hearing the fear-based.
Yeah, I mean, the two fears being what happens to my baby.
Yeah.
And the other fear that you're just going to find in a lot of legalistic places, what if I don't do it right?
Right.
If I believe everything, but I don't do it right, what's going to happen to me?
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I should say, and then we can be done, and then we can switch to bagel Q&A, is how much water has to be involved? Dunking versus sprinkling?
I guess sprinkled as a baby.
Yeah, sprinkled as a baby. Well, the word problem is the word baptize, baptism itself, right? That is a transliteration from a Greek word, which is, the verb form being baptizo, which means I baptize. Just imagine Baptist with an O at the end of it, right? It means to immerse.
Okay.
It is like if you're gonna dye a shirt,
you go all the way in.
I'm gonna complete.
That seems really gruesome though, to dunk a baby.
Well, babies don't typically get dunked. There's some videos out there.
I don't think I would
of some
see
particular
that.
denominations that have this big. It's like this basin, and they put the baby in there. But the reason why we have switched from full immersion to sprinkling, again, historically has been, one, now
Access
babies are
to
involved.
Water. Okay.
And two, you can do it even if you do not have access to large amounts of clean, fresh water.
And then enters the hot tub.
Right? But the word itself means to immerse. And so then again, the more hyper literal you are as an interpreter of the Bible,
is means
is, and immerse means immerse.
Okay.
You can get wet, you can get sprinkled, but you can't call that baptism.
So the sprinkling idea came later.
Yes.
Okay.
The word itself means to be completely immersed in water.
Okay.
And so you can see again, but some of the churches that have changed that would have no problem. It's not that it doesn't matter that that's what the Bible word is, because tradition matters too when determining what is right. We, as you're kind of 500 years removed from the Protestant Reformation, non-denominational churches, we don't have a real deep sense of tradition,
right?
Even though 99.9% of what we believe and do is built on some tradition that's probably at least 200 years old, if not older.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that a different time, where all our traditions come from how much of this came from Constantine, how much it came from the Protestant Reformation, how much of it was First Great Awakening, Second Great Awakening.
So we haven't even gone to those things.
We haven't talked about these things yet.
Which I would love to.
Which I know that you would love to talk about. So anyways, thank you, Bagel, for a great conversation. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to switch to Q&A here in our next episode. Encourage you to join us for that. You can find out everything that you want about us at thegrovechurch.org/connect. A form you can fill out. There's also, you can send us questions either at that form or at info@thegrovechurch.org. If you have topic ideas, anything, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to meet you on a Sunday. If you're not connected to our church, you can find all the information there as well. And again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening to the Cultivate podcast. Our hope is that you are taking steps to go deeper in your faith, that you are asking big questions and you're looking for answers. We hope that we can be a resource for you through our podcast and any other way that we can help you. You can find all our episodes anywhere that you can find podcasts, including YouTube. And again, thank you so much for joining us.